When I was coming up with my morning routine, I had a lot of things in mind. I had like meditate, journal, cold shower, everything, fucking like 10 different tasks that I would just do. And I just then thought to myself after having about, well, 10 tasks just there in my note tab on my phone, having to eliminate half of them, I just thought to myself, why don't I just simplify, right? Like, why don't I just make it easier for me mentally and just have, I don't know, three tasks that I do in the morning, so it's easier to maintain and it actually gives me more progress because if it's easier to maintain, then you will do it more often, then it will give you more of the value that it can provide to you. And this is a problem that I've had recently, and I'm going to tell you how I've overcome it. So, first of all, why would you simplify? Because you'd think that, well, if I have all of this, well, then I just make a lot of progress and it's optimal. But then you really have to consider if you're a new guy, then all you need to really do for your self improvement is just exercise, diet, read, and sleep. Well, that's it. That's all you need to do when you're starting out. You need to do those essential things because you need to just get started. You just need momentum. All of those other things will come later. For now, just get momentum. That being said, I am not forbidding you from uh, getting more complicated because, of course, being more complicated is nice because then you have more things, you have more moving parts, and it is more optimal. But the thing is, it needs way more discipline to maintain. And most of the times, if you're just starting, you will not have that type of discipline. So that's why when you're starting, you need to simplify. How do you simplify? Hmm? How do you simplify? Just turn your brain off, think less about uh, about what you could do. Just write down. Like if you let's say you have a school task, then just take the thing what is the most important, the thing that gets the most amount of your work done. So, for example, if if I have a school project about, I don't know, a presentation about friction, then I'm not going to have any um have any uh, interesting facts or whatever. I'm not going to talk about who invented friction. Like, of course I could, but what's most important is that I talk about friction itself, the types of friction, what it even is, the equation for friction. And it might seem obvious, right? But if you apply it to making your morning routine, then suddenly it's not as obvious that you should simplify. It's not as obvious to not include this one thing that's not really going to do you much and it requires quite a lot of discipline to maintain. Because most of the times your first idea is very good. Like I've had this countless times where I just thought of something, then thought of another solution for the same thing, and then realized that, oh, that first solution was better, right? Like even down to specific things like the way I hold my dog's leash when I'm walking him. Like the first idea was to just have it wrapped around my wrist. Then I had another idea that didn't work out. It was less efficient than that first idea of just wrapping it around my wrist. That was way better. And it's what I do now. So just when you get that first idea about something, apply it first instead of thinking of another solution you because it turns out that your brain isn't as stupid as you might think it is, right? Like it's like it thinks short term, but it thinks well. Do you understand me? It it thinks short term. It thinks as in what is good for me now, but it will think for you what is good for me now, but what is good for me now. So if you're thinking about just what do I do now, then your brain is really good. It's going to give you very good solutions. So in that case, you should listen to it. When your brain tells you to eat junk food, of course, don't eat it. But when your brain tells you that, yeah, this way of holding the leash is way better than, I mean, this way of holding the leash is good applied. So then try it. And of course, you can try the other way, but be quick to change back to the original one. Don't have this type of ego that just that just makes you unable to change your habits. Like, have some humility and admit that you're wrong and change back to what you were doing before. So yeah, just have this humility. And I will say this once again, if you're advanced, then of course you can start getting more complicated. You can start coming up with more nuanced solutions. But that's talking when you're really advanced. Like I've been on self-improvement for 3 years and still I don't want to get too nuanced. I would rather just simplify. I would rather just be an essentialist, which is just another topic. An essentialist is someone who does the most essential things. He's the it's the guy that on like if he's a YouTuber, he only records videos and he edits a bit, and that's it. He doesn't optimize his thumbnails. He just gets whatever seems all right, and but he just works so much and he succeeds because he just uploads so regularly. That's an essentialist. That's the guy who will focus on something and focus on that one thing and will just stop caring about everything else. That's like um, you see those guys who lock in on their work and in a year they're just successful. That's because they focused only on that one thing, had some tunnel vision, and just like were like this. This is their work right in front of them. This is their friends. This is dating. They just like this, and then they succeed. And then, but when they have this, then they can maintain this success and branch out. So yeah, that's why you should simplify. Let's recap. You should simplify because it will just take off that mental load. It will make it all just easier because it's easier to maintain. It will give you more results because it's easier to maintain, because you don't want something uh, that's high risk, medium reward. You want something that's low risk, medium reward. That's what you want. You want, if you can get the same value by doing less, then do less, obviously. Like if I can work for 1 hour and get this much value, but then work for half an hour and get the same amount of value, I will work for half an hour because it's just more time efficient and it's more and takes off the mental load of, because you have to understand just how important mental load is. I can talk about it in another video, but mental load is very important. It's very important to just not pollute your mind with not even just social media, because that's the obvious thing, that's the surface level stuff. The deep stuff is like decision fatigue, for example, or yeah, just having to memorize all those different habits you have in a certain order, which just takes your mind off something more important. Do you understand? You need to have uh, instead of just having a lot of habits that you do in a particular order, either have them written down or have less of them or group them into categories that make them that make it so that there's less information for you to remember. So yeah, that was my take on how you should do your habits, how you should do your self-improvement. You should simplify it. And yeah, sleep well, do better. See ya.